Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for checking out my channel. If you've seen my last two videos, me playing Half-Life and then another one of me playing Destroy All Humans, if you actually somehow enjoyed those, they weren't that good because I don't have time to do major editing. If you enjoyed them, sorry, they're not going to be continued, at least not right now anyway. So I was basically thinking about how I want to do my channel, and I got to thinking about it. And yeah, I like playing games. I'm not that good at doing live commentary with them, unless I'm playing with my friends or something. If I'm playing with my friends, I'll talk to them and stuff, and you'll get some entertainment out of that. But for the most part, live commentary is not really my thing. Because if I'm playing a single-player game, then I'm sitting there being quiet the whole time because I'm focusing on the game, right? So I got to thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have that much, cool equipment right now. I don't have, high-tech microphone. I've got a Blue Smobile mic, but it wasn't one of those. It's not one of those high-tech ones. I mean, this thing can detect everything. I mean, you can hear me snap at my dog from 5 feet away. Which I guess 5 feet's not that much, but still. I mean, you can hear my squeaky chair. Probably should have said warning right there. That's going to be changing in a little bit. When my birthday comes around, I'll be getting me a new chair that won't squeak. But anyway, so what I wanted to do was basically turn this into just a gaming news channel, or just strictly post commentary on my videos. So you'll see gameplay of lots of things. Right now I got gameplay of Payday 2 in the background. I'm not actually watching it while I make this post commentary, so I don't know what exactly is going on in the game. I do know I'm standing around a lot because I'm. No wait, that's Sims. I know I'm. I don't know. I look like I don't know what I'm doing on the game, probably because I don't. I haven't played it in a very long time. I played it like once on the Switch. That was it. So yeah, so basically what I want to do with this channel is basically talk about gaming in general because I like doing that. And, probably thinking like, why not just do a podcast or something? Which I want to do one of those too, except, gaming podcast, gaming, anything goes better with games in the background. And I plan to do other things on my channel, just, not right now while I'm in school. I want to make it simple things. Trying to do weekly live commentary, multi-part playthroughs and stuff just ain't really working. So I'm just gonna be talking about games and stuff because I like games. So a little bit about my gaming life, I guess. Been playing games pretty much all my life. I'm 20 in my 20s, early 20s. So I've been around for the. I don't think I'm as old as the PS1. I think that came out in. I want to say that came out in '95. Let me look into that real fast. Yeah, so I don't think I was around when the PS1 came out. I never really played on it. I did grow up playing the PS2. So, I have plenty of PlayStation experience. 94, yeah, okay. I do have plenty of PlayStation experience. PS2 games like I said at the beginning, my other videos, Destroy All Humans. Man, I remember. I think that's the game. I remember playing that at my friend's house on the PS2 back when it was big. I love that game. I can't remember what I really did on that game, but I know I loved it. So I've had a PS3. PS4. Got a PS4 right now. I'm planning on picking up the PS5 next when it comes out this holiday or after the holidays because it might get delayed. I think it's a better thing to do is to delay it, and I can get to that later. So, and forgive me, I say a lot because I'm thinking I'm doing this all out of my head. So yeah, one of my friends is gonna tell me is not the you shouldn't be saying a lot, and I'm just like, I'll just whatever. Yeah, you know who you are. So yeah, played a lot of PlayStation games. I've had Xbox too. I don't really care to have them. I played their games. They've got some. I think the only exclusive Xbox ever like I've been intrigued by. Well, there's a couple I've ever been really intrigued by was Sunset Overdrive. I thought that game looked pretty good, although it might be coming to PlayStation now with Sony's recent acquisition of Insomniac. And then you had the game called ReCore over on the Xbox. That game I thought was interesting. One of the few Xbox exclusives. I saw the trailer at E3 one year, and I'm like, okay, this actually looks good. Then you get into it, and it's like, it kind of gave me a Dark Void kind of vibe, if you know that game. So, yeah. And so, going back to the PlayStation history, yeah, so I really got into games with the PS3. I did grow up playing seldom on the PS2. I did play the Nintendo 64 growing up and the GameCube. Super Mario 64, best graphics ever made. No, not really. Second best. Second to Super Mario Sunshine, which to this day I still think is better graphics than almost all the games that come out today. That game just looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, it looks like it came out of a Pixar movie for its day. So, I really wish they'd port that to Nintendo Switch. So yeah, I have a Nintendo Switch also. Love that thing. It's very fun. I used to have a PlayStation Vita. For those of you who don't know or forgot about it, that's the successor to the PlayStation Portable. And if you don't know what that is, it's pretty self-explanatory. So, yeah. So basically, what I want to do with the channel is, now that you know a little bit about my gaming history, just make it a gaming channel where I just talk about games and stuff, gaming news, games coming out, games I'm excited for, and I'll have gameplay in the background. If I do a playthrough or something, it'll be post commentary over the playthrough, and I'll make sure to watch my game as I'm playing, so I don't, so I can actually relate to the game a little bit. That way you don't feel like I've got two totally different things going on. This video, you will just, no, nothing else to it. But yeah, so talking about games coming out. Okay, so something I wanted to talk about was not really games, but Xbox. They recently came out, and if I don't put the sources in my description or whatever, I'll try to say them in my videos. So Xbox recently came out, the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, recently came out and said that he does not consider PlayStation or Nintendo to be the main rivals. I'm trying to find the exact. We'll go with the Verge. All right, looking at the Verge.com. So yeah, Microsoft's Xbox boss says Amazon and Google are the main competitors going forward. Sony and Nintendo aren't the main competition in the cloud world, which, I mean, they're kind of right about that. Sony's not big on the cloud, which, understandable. I'm going off on a tangent, so we'll come back to that in a minute. But I thought it was kind of funny because Xbox, saying that Amazon and Google are their main competition because of cloud computing, and that Sony and Nintendo are no longer their competition, or not their main competition, I should say. It's I thought it was quite funny if you look at the sales, and this is not me trying to diss on Xbox or whatever. It's the no, like I said, I've had an Xbox One. It's okay. I mean, they don't have any games to want me to actually play on the Xbox. I mean, I prefer the PlayStation controller. I prefer the PlayStation user interface, all around. Oh, Mike. Well, and the other thing is, then when I say they don't have any games to keep me playing it, they don't have any good exclusives. All their exclusives are either just the same old thing every year, like Halo. How much longer? I mean, people have been saying this for 10 years now, but how much longer can they ride the Halo train? Be like, oh, another Halo's coming out. Everybody go buy an Xbox for Halo. I'm just come on. I just aggravated a million Halo haters or Halo fans out there. And I've played the games. They'd be cooler as movies. like real movies. Like I know they made like Halo Forward Unto Dawn, the movie or something like that, and I never watched it. I'm talking. It'd be cool if it like let me think. If the guys who made The Martian, if they went and made a Halo movie, I'd definitely watch that. Yeah. So that's like their only exclusive they ever bring up, and this is coming from like a PlayStation guy. So, if you're obviously Xbox, you might know about a whole lot more exclusives that they have that I don't know anything about. I try to keep fairly good detail of both the sides of gaming, but I am a PlayStation guy, so I'm bound to miss things on Xbox that an Xbox guy would normally see and would miss on PlayStation. And forgive me if my voice goes in and out. I'm like moving back and forth towards my microphone. Yeah, and so, man, I like this. Yeah, so going back to that, they got Halo, they got Gears of War if they're still making that. I know Gears of War 5 came out. I want to say like last October. Yeah, last October, I think. That was a hit. I mean, the game looked beautiful. I never played it, never got around to them. Fun fact, if you didn't know this, the Gears of War franchise, and this is the kind of things that I don't pay much attention to, is like, who started what Xbox game or whatever, but the Gears of War franchise was created by the development team that made Fortnite. Epic Games. Maybe not the same exact people, but, the Epic Games created Gears of War. I mean, wrap that around your head for a little bit. Yeah, so not many exclusives, and even the exclusives they do have, they're not exclusives anymore. Like, ever since they introduced their Xbox Play Anywhere thing, I'm like, really? They're like, at the beginning of the console cycle, they're like, hey, let's take a look at what we got. Let's try to flesh out our exclusive lineup, right? And it's like, okay, that's great. I'd love to see more Xbox exclusives, right? Because I think, I don't really like exclusives being exclusive, I wish everybody had the chance to get them, but from a business side and a Sony guy, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad Sony's got all the exclusives, because then people flock to them, and but no, I wish, everybody could play them. But the problem with that is, like, exclusives is, like, if it's an exclusive, they put a lot more effort into it. The time that you have to sit there, like, making sure your game works on PlayStation and Xbox, and Nintendo if you choose to send it there, if it's an exclusive, you don't have to allocate those resources to doing that. You can those resources can now be used to making your game better. Not to say it's bad if you put it on multi-platform, it's just, you know what I mean. So the Xbox Play Anywhere. It's like, we're going to make an Xbox exclusive, but we're going to put them all on PC also. It's like, well, you've just now, like, given nobody a reason to buy your console. I mean, they were having a hard time coming back from their DRM policies and stuff from the 2013 E3 showing of the console. And then they're like, several years down the road, they're like, hey, the only reason you had to buy our console, you don't have that reason anymore. Just go buy the games on PC, At least that's how I saw it. Or if Minecraft, play it anywhere, even on PlayStation, which I'm glad they did that. I don't know. I have to see how the next console generation war goes. So, something I was going to bring up earlier was that the whole cloud computing thing, that Xbox is now like, hey, I never even got to the funny part of that. Well, back it up a bit. Yeah, so the funny thing about the whole Xbox declaring Sony and Nintendo no longer their main competitors, I'm like, okay, if you take a look at their sales, and depends on where you look. I look at VGCharts.com, which some people say that's not a reliable source and stuff. Well, I've never really experienced, like, they may not be perfect, but they're not like, tens of millions units off. They're usually a few weeks behind. They used to be pretty spot on, but now they've just gotten lazy over the past couple years. I don't know if they just have less people working there, but I don't know. But if you go by what they say, which, like I said, I'm not saying they're a good source, but I've not ever encountered a problem with them. So if you can prove like they're off by a whole lot, then I'll stop looking at them. But if you look at them, it's, you know, PlayStation 100 plus million sales, right? Xbox, it's like 30 million, which that number is probably not correct because Microsoft stopped giving out their numbers a long time ago. And then Nintendo, okay, this is where I find funny. Nintendo, having their Switch come out 2 years ago, almost two and a half years ago, and they already, according to VG charts, have outsold the Xbox. Now, granted, that's probably not entirely true, because I'm pretty sure the Xbox is probably around 40 million sales, probably maybe closer to 50. So the Switch isn't there yet, but it's really close. Okay. I find that crazy, you know. Which the Switch, you know, Nintendo's always had that luck, because they're not really, when you say Nintendo's entering the console war, they're not really entering it. They're kind of a neutral party. You know, whether you got, that's how the Wii reached 100 million sales. You know, people talk about how that's like, oh my gosh, it beat the other ones, it reached 100 million sales or whatever. Yeah, it did that because it was different. You know, PlayStation and Xbox are so much alike, whether you want to admit it or not. They're so much alike that if you have a PlayStation, you're not going to want an Xbox the way you're going to want a Nintendo Switch still, or a Wii, or whatever, a Nintendo product. So they're neutral. That's how they get so many sales, because people from PlayStation and Xbox are willing to buy it. Yeah, and so I just thought it was funny that, you know, Xbox is talking about how Sony and Nintendo are not their main competitors anymore, and they're being outsold by both. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, they're not your main competitors because, you know, they're not really competition anymore. Like, you don't stand a chance, you know. This next console cycle, they might, if they do the launch of the Xbox Series X correctly. Although everybody's got the PS4, I don't know. That's a talk for another video. But going back to what they were talking about, the cloud computing thing. So, cloud computing, Xbox has got this idea that, you know, their games can have unlimited, or their consoles can have unlimited, like, I can't remember exactly what it was. I don't want to say unlimited processing power, but it's unlimited something. I can't remember. Due to the cloud computing of their cloud services attached to the Xbox. So, you know, you have a game that spans, you know, the whole entire United States, like a life-size United States, right? You never see a loading screen because the game is processing all that in the cloud, you know? Not exactly like online like streaming the game, like PlayStation Now. It's not exactly like that, but it's similar. My problems with that is, like, and this, you know, kind of ties into Google Stadia as well. I think it's a great service, except, you know, the idea of streaming your game is actually pretty decent. Like, I don't have to wait for it to download. That's awesome. But what happens if your internet goes out, you know? That's kind of the same thing with going back to the cloud computing thing. Like, if my internet goes out, I can't access the cloud. So these games that require the cloud to run properly, I can't play any of them without internet, you know? And no matter how stable internet gets, there's always going to be that chance of it, like, you know, going out or just not being able to afford it or something. You know, I can, you know, pay $400 one-time fee to get a PlayStation and a few games with it, right? The internet's not a one-time fee. You pay for that monthly. So if there ever comes a time where you just can't pay for the internet that month and you're out of it for like a week, all your, you know, cloud-based games or whatever, you can't play. And it may not work that way, okay? That may not be how it works. I don't know all the details. And I'll gladly talk with somebody about it if they wish to hear me talk. Or care to talk. But yeah, so last thing I'm going to bring up is kind of leaning off of that leaning off the cloud computing of Google Stadia, is, so the Google Stadia is I think it's a great idea. Like, going towards game streaming, I think that is the right direction, but it's not where we don't want to basically say, hey, let's make everything completely game streaming. All right. So everybody does streaming on TVs and stuff like that, right? Like, you know, because you can access it anywhere pretty much. The problem with streaming games is that my problem with it is, again, the whole internet thing. Like, you know, they're talking about, you know, not these current consoles, because we know these current consoles are going to have disk drives, but the ones after that, no disk drive at all. Like, if you can still download the games, that's great. That's fine. That's why I like PlayStation Now. But Google Stadia, you can't download, as far as I know, you cannot download the games. All that box thing does is just stream the game. That's all it's built to do. I could be wrong by that. And I think that's why it's not off to a great start, if I read correctly. And so the problem with it is that I think a lot of people realize that, like, hey, we're not ready to do just full on game streaming. A lot of people have great internet. Not everybody does, though. And there are still plenty of people out there who don't have internet. You know, I mean, I got friends that have internets ranging from, 1 megabyte per second to share with a family of 10 to, 1,000 megabytes per second. And so it's not a viable business plan right now, I don't think, unless you have the option to also download the games. So, because you can do that with PlayStation Now. With PlayStation Now, you can stream all the games, but there are some that you can download as well, like the PS4 games and some PS2 games. I was just doing that the other day, playing Payday 2 with my friends. I got on streaming it to begin with while I waited for it to download. My internet's good enough to stream, though. So, it's also constant enough. But the same thing is, like, I go through a storm and the power goes out. Okay, well, then no power's out, I'm not playing. But what about, like, on portable things where, like a Nintendo Switch? What if the next Nintendo Switch is completely game streaming? My power goes out, my internet's out. I want to be able to play my games while I wait for the power to come back on, So, and I don't think portable gaming's ever going to go to just straight up streaming only. I would like to see a console that has a built-in battery pack for when the power does go out. You can, like, pull up a monitor on the console and use the battery power to play your games. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe as, like, add-on features, not necessarily part of the console, because that would raise the price up really much. Yeah, that's just my thoughts on the cloud computing and the Xbox. Talking about the major competitors. I don't really see how... I get how Google could be a competitor. I don't see how Amazon can be. I mean, Amazon owns Twitch, yes. I think Microsoft owns Mixer, which is another streaming service. If that's what they're talking about, okay, I can see them as a competitor. But if they're talking about strictly the cloud computing, coming from Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, I gotta think he's talking about in terms of games. That's their competitor. I don't see how Amazon is their competitor. If somebody wants to enlighten me on that, I'll be glad to listen. I love talking about games. I love hearing about games. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I plan to keep doing this. So you're stuck with me. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.